Summary of The Art of Connecting. How to overcome differences, build rapport, and communicate effectively with anyone. By Claire Rains and Lara Ewing. 3 great communicators. Making connections among individuals is essential to smooth business operations. Some leaders spend their lives honing their ability to communicate well with others. Usually they are genuinely interested in other people, and believe they can learn a lot by minimizing differences and concentrating on points of similarity. Listening is critical. When you are really listening to someone, you gain his or her full attention in return. The following 4 people, who work in different fields, are all exemplary communicators. Terry Gross hosts the national public radio show Fresh Air. She conducts interviews with disparate people from all walks of life, religious leaders, politicians, celebrities, and experts. Her sincere interest in what others have to say makes her a great interviewer. She enters into each encounter with curiosity and the active expectation that she will learn from her guests. To prepare for her interviews, Gross develops a set of questions based on her deep respect for her guests, as though she has seen life from their viewpoints. However, she never writes her questions out in detail, beginning instead with an idea of the general shape she wants the conversation to take. Her secret is her exceptional listening skill, which she has honed during 30 years on the air. Sometimes, she must speak to her guests on the telephone from a studio miles away. Lacking the benefit of visual cues, she must rely completely on vocal ones. She concentrates on variations in her guests' voices and speech patterns, and adjusts her approach based on what she hears. She allows her guests time to consider and elaborate on their answers before she moves the conversation forward. She places herself in the wings and gives her guests center stage. Richard and Michelle Steckel, the Steckels, have traveled the world with their Milestones project. They photograph children at significant moments, a first step, a birthday, a new tooth. Whether the children are laughing, making funny faces, or crying, the Steckels' pictures display human commonalities that transcend cultural and environmental differences. The Steckels care deeply about humanity. Their goal is to facilitate empathy and understanding among disparate populations informs everything they do. Often, the Steckels do not speak the languages of the countries they visit, and must rely upon their ability to read a situation and communicate non-verbally. Like Gross, they are good at listening and interpreting people's cues about their wishes and feelings. The Steckels remain in the background and shine the spotlight on the subjects of their photographs, not on themselves. Hector Orki's advertising company, La Agencia de Orki, in Los Angeles, bridges the cultural gap between his clients and their Latino customers. Orki believes he has succeeded by developing his listening skills. He focuses on what others tell him verbally and non-verbally. He constantly monitors others' responses to his suggestions, adjusting his approach as necessary. Orki understands his clients so well that he can give them exactly the information they need. He believes that if your company is not sincere, potential customers will know it. He counsels companies to clarify what they want to accomplish before attempting to communicate with a new audience. Before telling people what you want, he says, figure out what they want. The Titanium Rule. The Golden Rule says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But people are different. They may not want the same things you want. So the Titanium Rule says, do unto others according to their druthers. Find out about their desires and how they want to be treated. Although most people don't tell you directly what's important to them, you can gather a lot of information about how they are receiving your message through sharp observation. Note how they are standing. Are they leaning forward and making eye contact? Is their attention easily distracted? Are their arms crossed? When you meet people for the first time, their tone of voice and other nonverbal cues can tell you a lot. Are they shy or outgoing? What do their clothes, office, or home suggest about their personalities? As you start to understand others, you'll discover the things you have in common. Finding these points of commonality is necessary to establishing meaningful communication. How to become a people person. To build relationships with others, use the following building blocks for establishing rapport. These principles are not just rules to remember. If you want them to work, you must be willing to change the way you view the world. Maintain an open mind, withhold judgment, and take an interest in unfamiliar circumstances, events, and places. There's always a bridge. Keep the faith that you'll eventually find common ground. When you discover it, use it as a bridge. Make a conversational offer by revealing some information about yourself to create a connection. Often, you will receive a counteroffer. Then, you and your counterpart can build a conversation. Curiosity is key. If you're curious, you'll have an easy time discovering similarities. Curious people stay young at heart, at least. They are always looking for a fresh perspective and new ways of doing things. However, avoid morbid curiosity. Use manners and common sense. Don't intrude upon others' privacy. Staying aware of the other person's point of view will enable you to evaluate the boundaries of polite inquiry. Curiosity can help you relinquish nervous self-consciousness. No matter how much you know, others always have something to teach you. What you assume is what you get. If you keep your expectations high, others will rise to them. Each individual is a culture, each person is a world unto him or herself. Superficial characteristics such as country of origin, race, religion, or age don't tell the whole story. All sorts of characteristics and experiences shape personality. No strings attached. Find out about others because you are sincerely interested. However, do not expect them to be curious about you. If you are motivated by curiosity, you will see each interaction as an opportunity to learn. Finding the path around differences. Here are some methods for communicating across differences. Clarify your intention. Review your goals before the conversation to organize your experience. Your purpose will come through no matter what you say or don't say. Once you understand your intentions, scope out the other person's goals. Notice your own reactions. Become aware of the stereotypes or judgments you harbor. They may harm your ability to forge connections with others. Prejudices that you absorbed unquestioningly in childhood may still lurk in your subconscious. A harsh reaction to the difference between you and someone else, or internal feedback, such as a fleeting thought or queasy stomach, may signal such unchallenged precepts. Pay attention to these signals. Use the opportunity to examine your beliefs and consciously align them with those you wish to hold. Use cues. You can tell a lot about people by reading between the lines. Do they speak quickly or slowly? Do they start conversations with small talk or do they go right to their main concern? Do they maintain eye contact? Does their posture indicate interest? To improve your skill at reading nonverbal cues, focus on one type of behavior at a time. For example, first pay attention to people's facial expressions. Next, observe their posture. Before long, you will evaluate such cues unconsciously. Mirror the other person. To achieve rapport, adjust yourself to the other person. If he or she likes a slower conversational pace, then calm your own tempo. Imitate vocal patterns, postures and gestures. Observe hairstyles, clothing, and environmental clues such as the pictures on the office walls. Experiment and adjust. If your initial tactic doesn't appear to be advancing your purpose, change your strategy. Do not take lack of rapport personally, simply try a new approach until you find the right direction. 1. The 3 ways to look at interactions. You can examine any interaction from 3 perspectives. Your own point of view, first person. Before you can understand others, you must understand yourself, your motivations, fears, preferences, and characteristic reactions. One way to do this is to become comfortable with your body, and the thoughts and signals that influence you, usually without your conscious knowledge. You'll know you've achieved real clarity when your body is in accord with your conscious desires. The other person's point of view, second person. When you imagine life from another person's perspective, including mirroring their posture, vocal traits, and habits of thought, you enhance your ability to find mutual similarities. The point of view of an impartial observer, third person. Adopting the imaginary perspective of an impartial observer will help you evaluate your performance in an exchange and make adjustments, in your mind's eye, watch the other person's responses and weigh them for clues about how to make contact. However, beware of staying too long in the third-person point of view, or you'll become like the character Data on Star Trek, an android who can interpret information but feels no emotions. To figure out what works and what doesn't in your interpersonal communication, learn to switch among these points of view. For example, Nikki Moss, supervisor of organizational learning for the natural gas company DTE Energy, takes pride in her African American heritage. She is also eager to learn about other cultures. When she discovered that a Japanese-American co-worker led tea ceremonies in her home, Moss signed up right away. When Moss leads diversity training workshops, she shifts into the observer perspective to handle participants' uncomfortable feelings. Group dynamics. To connect to others in a group setting or in a speech, use your respectful curiosity to learn everything possible about them and to find points of similarity. If you are addressing a group, forge a connection early in your remarks based on the similarities you've discovered, such as goals you may have in common. Pay attention to feedback from the group, such as the expressions on people's faces. Do they look attentive? Confused? Determine whether your words are holding the group's interest. If not, adjust your performance accordingly. Communicating across differences among the people in a group can be daunting. When you are leading a multicultural group, express your optimism that the group's diversity will enrich your knowledge. Your sincere expectation of a good outcome is almost more important than the words you use. Share something you've learned about your audience. Demonstrate that you are open to new approaches and ideas. When you identify a common goal among group members, differences fade. However, sometimes you'll need to meet privately with individuals who don't share the overall group's common desire. Listen to their concerns. Their critique may be valuable, and their interests may not be so different from everyone else's. Help every participant feel as though he or she is an important member of the group, even those with the least knowledge or experience. Apply conflict resolution techniques to navigate opposing perspectives. Use team-building activities to pull a diverse group together. For example, in the Spectrums of Perspectives exercise, participants organize themselves into a line that represents the continuum of experience among them. The Clarifying Intentions exercise involves asking participants to outline their goals and to imagine the goals of others. In the Pre-Class Interview, participants interview someone of a different race or culture before the group meets. They share the information they gathered and their feelings about the interview with the group.